Hey, co-creators. It's so exciting to see you um, virtually in the time-space reality where whenever you are watching this, we're connecting our hearts. I love that. Okay, here is my title for today. Why I love rejection. Okay, this is interesting. All right, I've had two people ask me in like the recent time stretch how I don't feel like how I feel confident or how I don't feel insecure. And why those that was like really fun to receive is because I used to strongly identify as an insecure person and I don't anymore. And here is the magical why. Rejection liberates you. Okay. So I have experienced some pretty severe rejection basically when I came out as queer around like 22 years ago, when I was in my early 20s, my community and family of origin like was not able to continue affirming me, shall we say. Um, because it was not available for them to affirm or celebrate a queer person in their religious context. So I came from evangelical Christianity, and that is just not an option in most of that world. And so I was cut off pretty immediately from my community, and there was one or two folks who like kind of tried to stay connected, and I will say that my family has my family of origin has done sort of their yeah, they absolutely have done their best, but I was more thinking like their version of staying connected with me, but it significantly changed our relationship. And I spent a huge chunk of time, over a decade, really resisting that, feeling victimized by that, blaming them for that. But ultimately, the biggest like gift in it was that now I have experienced significant rejection and I have proven to myself that I survive it. So evolution gave our biology a program that said if you get kicked out of the group, you'll die, which is why so many of us fear rejection. It's just a very legitimate, apologies, I am still recovering from COVID. It's a very legitimate, like biological need to stay connected to the group so that we survive. But astonishingly, we have evolved to the point where we don't actually need our original group um, to survive. And so I got to prove to my nervous system that I would survive even if my sort of culture of origin or community of origin rejected me. And it has been so rad that over the 20 years since then, um, I have gotten to experience that on like multiple levels to the point where there's pretty much nothing left in my life that can be like threatened or taken away. And so I live very freely because of that. And I do not want anybody else to have to go through the level of rejection that I have. But I think you can start to experiment in a very not such a dramatic way with looking at some of the things that in your life you think if I did that, then I would like lose people or something bad would happen to me, and start to test it, because you may find that not only do you survive, but you may find that the liberation you experience or the freedom that you experience after trying out that authentic part of you or piece of you is like so worth it that you want to keep trying. Okay. So I'm going to give some other examples of areas in which I have done this. So that first big experience was really with going against the like cis het rules about being straight and cisgender. Um, and early on, I did that just through sexuality. And then about um, 5 years ago now, maybe less than that, 4, I started sort of pushing back against gender rules. And I started using different pronouns. I got top surgery. I started taking gender affirming hormones. And that has been a wonderful experience because while I haven't experienced like as much rejection as I experienced when I started pushing back against sexuality norms, um, I was worried about how like the general community, like the mom friends that I have, and just sort of like I live in a very, very liberal area. So I wasn't too worried, but I was curious about how, kids, my own kid, neighbor kids, people I work with, people that I'm around just sort of day to day, people like when I go swimming without a shirt on, all of those kind of things. I was a little bit curious how that would be experienced. And I've gotten some weirdness. Some people have been a little funky about it. And certainly when I've been places without a shirt on, I've gotten some, people feeling funky about it and saying things. And I will tell you, it again has been like that sort of rejection has been maybe here, and the positives of it, like how fantastic I feel in my body and how like just huge increases in confidence has so outweighed the rejection. And I've learned so much about how many parts of my life were like being dictated by this gender stuff, like in terms of like picking out clothes or like just how I interact with having a body. So that doesn't mean that like you should question your gender, but it could be that you look at like what kind of gender rules are you following and do you need to follow all of them? So that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to identify as trans. It just means like if you're assigned male at birth and you like think that you identify as a man and you think that you can't wear like a pink shirt, like but you always wanted to, consider trying it and see what happens. Just tiptoe towards these things. If you're assigned female at birth and you like always wanted to cut your hair short and you never thought you were allowed, like try it and see what happens. And this goes for like anything and everything. So like I also realized I just am like looking for these things now because it's been such a positive experience for me. So I realized that I had somehow, I don't think my mom ever explicitly said it, but somehow I absorbed the idea that like you shouldn't drink a lot of juice. Okay. So random, right? So I had never let myself like have a full glass of juice, like ever. And I realized that I was not letting my kid have a full glass of juice. I'd be like, you can have like a little bit. And I didn't know why. So recently I started telling myself, like, you can have as much juice as you want. And it is still a little bit like, I feel a little bit like I'm doing something wrong when I pour myself like a whole glass of orange juice. And the funny thing is, I drink a whole glass of orange juice and nothing bad has happened yet. And I give my kid a full glass of juice and nothing bad has happened yet. Okay, it's astonishing things like this. Or like I, maybe have rules about like when I'm allowed to have, I don't know, a piece of candy or like something random like that. And I have just been like, you can have it whenever you want, as much as you want. And it is so freeing and empowering to just do what feels good. Or like I had this rule that I couldn't just wear like a sweatshirt. Like I'm wearing a sweatshirt right now. I couldn't just wear a sweatshirt unless it was like leisure time and I needed to like put on a different kind of shirt if I was doing something that was work or being outside, right? I have just been letting myself wear sweatshirts or like a hat, a baseball hat. I just like wear a hat when I make a video or when I have a actual work call. And guess what? Nothing bad has happened. Or like I will tell someone like in the middle of a meeting, hey, I need to take a break and go to the bathroom, which I would have made myself previously like wait until the end. These little permissions and actually testing out if I'm gonna be rejected have been, it feels so good. I can't even tell you. So try, if it feels interesting to you, try taking a little itty bitty something that you think you're not allowed to do and try doing it and see if the liberation that you feel and the joy, honestly, that you feel in giving yourself this little thing might outweigh the rejection that you experience. And, you know, this goes for like big things too, like trying to make a YouTube channel. Okay, I'm making a YouTube channel. There's like hardly nobody who's watching it, but and I could say like I am a funky looking person and I should not be on a video, whatever. But I'm having fun. It's filling time. It's giving me like I get little ideas like this of something that I want to do, which makes me excited about my day and makes me like excited to share it. And so far, nobody has told me that I'm too funky looking to make a YouTube channel because it turns out nobody's too funky looking to make a YouTube channel because we're all equally funky looking. And while you're watching me, you're probably thinking about how you're funky looking, not about how I'm funky looking, but we're both funky looking. So, anyways, everybody's funky. Anyways, I love you. I hope that you try getting rejected and see how it feels. And if you do, tell me in the comments. And I'm sending so much love. Have a beautiful, beautiful whatever it is for you. Okay.